A person is of more value than a world. These are the words that St. John Eudes spoke nearly 400 years ago, and that Good Shepherds continue to live by. Stay tuned as we talk about our Good Shepherd core value of individual worth. You might know that the 4 core values for Good Shepherds in our province of Mid-North America are individual worth, mercy, reconciliation, and zeal. We have core values to give us a common language and a common understanding of who we say we are collectively. So today we're going to focus on the value that is the backbone of Good Shepherd work, and that's individual worth. The core values were first identified and agreed upon somewhere around 20 years ago. A group of shepherds from all over the province, sisters and lay partners, agency staff, volunteers, all got together to talk about what Good Shepherd looks like when it's at its best. Hundreds of words were collected, and 4 were narrowed down and agreed upon by the group. People only know the mission of Good Shepherd by how we live it. I mean, sure, you can read a mission statement, but that doesn't mean anything if it's not acted out. And the mission is lived when we act in line with the core values. So the vision of the Good Shepherd congregation internationally, you can find this on our website, is that the worth and dignity of all human and created life be honored and celebrated. So we can see right away how important the value of individual worth is. Sometimes we also call this human dignity. Individual worth says that we value the dignity of each person and strive to treat each person with respect, giving them opportunity for growth and individual expression. We can clearly see this example in St. John Eudes and St. Mary Euphrasia, our founders. I've been thinking about John Eudes a lot lately and how he helped people in his community during one of the plagues. He took care of the sick and dying during the day, and at night he stayed in an empty field using a wine barrel for shelter. Now, we're not going to go live in wine barrels in a field, but I've been so moved at the sacrifice of our agency staff who put themselves at risk to take care of those in your programs. Still showing up, still doing your best every day. You have been a constant example of individual worth. So make sure you take a moment today and breathe that in for yourself and for your coworkers. Individual worth can look a lot of different ways. It can look like attending to each person, for simply making time for people. It can look like identifying and supporting one another's gifts and needs, of listening to each person's opinion and point of view. It can look like creating open lines of communication and flexibility that can make allowances when it's appropriate for individual needs. How else? How else have you seen individual worth in action today? Remember also that the core values don't only apply to those that you work with and for, but they also apply to us and to you as well. If you value the worth of another, then you have to value yourself too. For some of us, it's easier to recognize the worth of another person than it is in ourselves, but we have to remember that lifting up one never lowers another. All of our core values are challenging. What do you think are the challenges of individual worth? You know, this is a moment that I really wish we could be together in person, where I could hear your stories and we can chat. A year or two ago, I was talking to one of my friends about this value. Not a Good Shepherd person, but somebody that I'm close to. And one of the big challenges to individual worth is when we see people act in a way that is not worthy, right? People can do some truly terrible things. We all know this. We've all seen it. But it doesn't take away a person's inherent worth as a human being when they do terrible things. So I said this to a friend, and he said that he didn't think he agreed with that. Now, that's fair. If that's not a value that you hold, then that's not something that you're going to believe. So a question also to ask yourself is, what exactly do you believe about individual worth? Are there limits to it? And if so, what are they? What do you believe about individual worth? And what are your experiences and beliefs that back that up? So take a minute if you want to think about those things and to reflect. For me, I believe that each person is created and loved by God. That's the source of my individual worth. So if we look, we can see God reflected in each person. Now, sometimes we have to look a little bit harder in some people than others. But because that's what I believe, every person has inherent worth and dignity. So there's an example I saw a few years ago that I wanted to share with you about a person's inherent worth. Now, okay, I know examples and metaphors are not perfect, so this isn't like a 100% correlation here, but you'll get the point, I think. So, what's this? I know you can't respond out loud. You can, but I can't hear you. So we'll just say it together. So what is this? This is $1, right? How much is $1 worth? It's worth $1. What if I fold up this dollar? What's it worth? It's still worth $1. What if I took this dollar and crumpled it up like this? Now what's it worth? It's still worth $1. What if I take this dollar and I yell at it and scream at it, which I'm not going to do because I think I would frighten my cat here. But what if I looked at this dollar and I said, you are worthless, I hate you, you are no good, I wish you never existed? What's this dollar worth? It's still worth $1. There is nothing anybody can say to this dollar to make it worth less. There's nothing we can do to make this dollar worth less. And it's the same for people. So there's a lot of things that we ourselves want to base our worth on. What our parents think of us, what our friends or spouses think of us, what kind of parents we are, our jobs, our roles in our family, how much money we make, who we help, how many people we help, how much sacrifice we make, anything. And I want you to remember today that you are worthy and good just by being you. It doesn't matter what you have or haven't done today. You're enough today. Remind yourself of this as often as you need to, or contact me and I would be happy to remind you. We also have to remember that holding the value of individual worth is not an excuse for bad behavior. It's not an excuse for somebody to say, well, that's just the way I am, deal with it. Individual worth isn't about being rude or selfish. Mary Euphrasia said, always lift them up in their own eyes. Also, Constitutions 5 of the Sisters of the Good Shepherd says that our relationship with those we meet should be for them a means of encounter with the Good Shepherd. We seek to approach them as he does. Each person is present to him in human uniqueness, and he calls each one friend. Our love should awaken in them a sense of their worth and dignity as children of God. I confess that sometimes, seems a little more lately now, if I'm going to be honest, I have bad days and I am grumpy. And my interactions with others, I guarantee, do not reflect an encounter with the Good Shepherd. But hopefully those are the exceptions. Mary Euphrasia said, in speaking of those in the programs, treat them with nobility of soul. What does that mean? Well, that means we should treat others with respect, kindness, and patience as often as we can. We should also treat others from our own nobility. Well, what does that mean? Have you ever heard the phrase that hurt people hurt people? So often when I react negatively to someone, it's because I have been hurt somewhere and they're pressing on it. And I might respond out of hurt and not out of my best self. What a difference it would make to respond to people from my kindness instead of my hurt. These are things that I see staff in our programs do every day, showing patience, love, forgiveness, understanding, and fun, I bet you've seen it today too. So here's your challenge. Find someone acting out of our value of individual worth and tell them that you see it, that you see them. Well, that's all we have time for today. Be well and tune in next week. Remember to subscribe and to sign up for notifications. As Mary Euphrasia said, courage, go forth, save souls. She wants to be on camera so bad.